Another dominant Dallas win, and Perloff is already looking at me sideways.
Dak Prescott. What did Dak Prescott have to do with any of it?
70 points in 2 games. You're telling me he can't be? He's 5th in MVP odds? No shot. Dallas is working right now on both sides of the ball.
You could put a store-bought dummy there and win by 70 points. Get out of here. Dak Prescott hasn't even done anything yet. And I'm a Dak guy.
How about mistake-free football? How about completing his first 13 passes yesterday? It was an absolute clinic, and the defense is going to get all the attention for Dallas, and rightfully so, because they're incredible. Micah Parsons actually should be rivaling Dak in MVP for MVP odds, and I'm being serious that we haven't had a defensive MVP since Lawrence Taylor, and that's the person who Micah Parsons keeps getting compared to the most, Perloff. I mean, another sensational performance against a Jets offensive line that we already knew was pretty bad. I mean, obviously, we saw what happened with Aaron Rodgers against the Buffalo Bills in the opener. I don't think this is fool's gold, though. Mm-hmm. I still thought that the Jets had a very good defense. So going into this game, how the Cowboys were able to run on them, move on them, I thought was a really good sign.
Dak Prescott in 2 games. First game, he threw for 143 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. This game he threw for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. If I told you he'd have less than 400 yards and less than 2 touchdowns through 2 games, you would have said, oh, my God, we're in major crisis mode. There's no way he's getting an MVP if he averages 180-yard a game. The defense is going to have to get worse, Maggie, to help Dak look better. They've not done anything.
No interceptions. And
no interceptions. He has 100 and he has less than 200 yards a game. That's like Tim Tebow numbers.
No, not true. You know with the eye test that it's more than that and it's better than that.
No. Listen, the first week, he didn't have to show up at all. The defense spotted him 14
Did all
points.
types of things.
14 points. No. He's done nothing. This is Micah Parsons' team. This is purely about him. It's like Lawrence Taylor with the Giants in the 80s. Dak, you're right. No interceptions. Although, I have to tell you, there was a play that we all saw when he threw the ball right to Sauce Gardner that should have been a pick six.
Listen, Sauce Gardner is one of the best corners in the league. If you're that good, catch it.
But yeah, that being said, but that was there's 2022 Dak. Why would he throw that ball? That was last year. He kept throwing that silly out pattern, and he made that one mistake, and then they just shut down the passing offense.
They were playing down offensive linemen in Dallas and no Brandon Cooks, and the offense still was just humming against the Jets defense that is very good.
Right. If you're Dak Prescott, you do not throw that pass. You do not flirt with those kind of passes, and that's on the offense. Then they shut it down. Basically, then you didn't see anything from the Cowboys the rest of the game because they knew they had that game won.
I mean, 11 catches for CeeDee Lamb. Someone's getting him the ball.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see anything from the Cowboys? Did they need to do anything offensively there? Nothing. They basically just showed up, and Zach Wilson, for some reason, the Jets kept dropping back and kept giving Micah Parsons something to target at. So there's no way, the Dallas hasn't had to do anything. And guess what? Dak's not going to need to do anything next week against Arizona either. And then the week after against New England. Dak's going to go into week 5 with 4 touchdowns and 180 yards per game.
Yes, and you and I have been doing this long enough that I can tell you when you start winning, and even though the defense is leading the way, and I'll give you that, and that's what feels different for Dallas this year. The defense has been good in the past. This feels on another level, on a San Francisco 49ers level. This is maybe surpassed the 49ers. I mean, this is a really good defense. We know that. So you mean to tell me that if we are 5 games in or 4 games in, what do they play San Francisco week 5, right?
They're going to be 4-0 for 4 games. Yeah, no, the hype will be crazy, but it'll be all about Parsons.
And the momentum, though, is going to build here, I think, for the defense, yes, and for Micah Parsons, but also for Dak. I mean, I think, listen, I don't want to make this all about Dak because Micah Parsons is the star from yesterday, but this is going to be, if he can play mistake-free football and they keep turning in wins, he's going to keep climbing up, especially because the people who are in front of him in this MVP conversation, not everyone's playing awesome. It's been some real up and down besides Tua, who we'll talk about in a little bit.
So next week, Cardinals, another exhibition game, 3rd in a row for the Cowboys. Preseason, they get a full preseason. They're psyched. Week 4, Patriots. Yeah, I know it's in Dallas. Tough. That could be tough. You think they're going to let Dak throw the ball a lot against the Patriots? No way. That's one way that you can run into trouble against the Patriots. Week after that, San Francisco. They're not going to let Dak do anything in that game. They are going to, if they're smart, be super conservative in all these games because their defense can win these all for them.
So you're not impressed with Dallas then? You think this is fool's gold?
I'm impressed with their defense. I do, however, I am I think that people are assuming that Dallas is way better than Philadelphia. I think that's a huge TBD. I can't wait for them because Parsons is right now, he's definitely a defensive player of the year, but arguably MVP of the league right now. He's just he's sacking guys and he's doing that little crawl thing. It's terrifying to anybody.
The bear crawl.
But he's played, I looked up the stat, he's played 5 games against the Eagles and the Niners in his career. He's had a half a sack in all 5 games. Didn't have any sacks against the Eagles last year. Hasn't ever had a sack against Kyle Shanahan's offense. So
it doesn't mean he can't disrupt the game, by the way, just if he doesn't have a sack.
But his production, like the whole Cowboys defense is great against bad teams and is very mixed against good teams. So I do worry, is the Cowboys' success so far as a function of who they played, or is it a function of how dominant they are? Because they clearly look like the class of the league right now, but it's so hard to tell because Zach Wilson is not a threat. And week 1, the Giants played really poorly. So I'm going to withhold a little judgment on there. But are you all in? Have you seen enough?
Listen, I'm being called a bandwagon jumper in our chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio by Mike McDaniel. Maggie's a bandwagon jumper. Mike, check the receipts. I picked the Dallas Cowboys to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not jumping, and that was weeks ago. I'm not jumping on any bandwagon. I thought they were going to be this good. I think they are this good. Just underscoring the defense, 7 turnovers and 9 sacks in just 2 games. I mean, it's been a full throttle. Would this been different with Aaron Rodgers playing for the Jets? Probably. But again, that's where I turn to the offense and say, well, this was a Jets team that was a top 5 defense last year, that was expected to still be a very good defense, and I think is. And I thought the offense hanging 30 on them was rather impressive. I mean, I know it's complimentary football and you don't have much on the offensive side with Wilson, but that's not nothing.
I don't know. Did they need 30 points? They had that. I mean, honestly, the Jets were 1 play, Garrett Wilson touchdown. The rest of it was nothing. I don't understand why the Jets didn't run the ball and try and control the clock and keep it. Well, please explain to me why Zach Wilson threw it 27 times.
I don't know. Maybe they thought because they're trailing that they had to throw the ball a lot, but they were never, to be fair, I mean, until it got away from them late, there were opportunities to have a little more balance on the offense early. But
they weren't trailing by that much.
I think that's because Dallas's defense.
So Zach Wilson was 12 for 27, and they ran the ball just 16 times in the whole game. Like, he can't throw the ball 27 times and run it 16. It makes me wonder, is that Jets coaching staff? Well, do they know what they're doing?
I mean, listen, Nathaniel Hackett's never been a personal show favorite around here. I don't think we all have a lot of faith in him. We had a lot of faith in Aaron Rodgers vouching for Nathaniel Hackett. But when Rodgers is out of the picture like he is now, then, okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they come up, they have teams like New England, Philadelphia, San Francisco, who are going to try and run it down their throat. Because isn't that the strategy against Micah Parsons? He's small, try and run at him. Doesn't really seem to work at all, but that's besides the point. So we're going to see a completely different test. That's all I'm saying, and this is the Eagles fan of me. Just wait. We have to see Dallas do this against a really good team before we crown them. And besides...
I crowned them before they played a snap this season.
We've seen multiple 12-5 seasons.
Okay.
I can't wait till that divisional round of the playoffs because... they've been favored in that game before, and Mike McCarthy has found the banana peel, and I don't know why that would be different now.
Okay, but don't you think the defense does feel like they've turned it up a notch, even from a team that's already had a very good defense?
No, they're the same exact defense as last year, aren't they?
Well, it just feels like because they've allowed 10 points in the first 2 weeks, I think they found another notch here, another angle. Craig is telling me, Maggie, you don't think those defensive players on the Jets are down a bit after losing Rodgers? I'm sorry. The defensive side, they're professionals. I mean, people might be in their feelings on the Jets about losing Rodgers, but you got to pick up the pieces and move on here. You don't have time to feel sorry for yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, listen, last year Micah Parsons just fed off Daniel Jones. That was... like half his stats were against the Giants. So I don't know. I'm not super impressed by these 2 wins yet. I do think that there's this thing that they're being compared to the 85 Bears and everything.
Well, I mean, everyone's always quick to do that. Everyone's quick to say 85 Bears. Everyone's quick to say, oh, that's the best insert game I've seen. You know, it's like Colorado State. Great game. It's not the best game I've ever seen. We'll talk about that later as well. I
feel like some really, really good college teams could whoop on Zach Wilson. I just do not see any talent in that passing offense. I couldn't understand that game. By the way, that game was a horrible watch. It was just so aesthetically unpleasing.
There were much better things to watch in that afternoon.
Yeah, the afternoon
like the
was
49ers and the Rams.
Oh, that was beautiful.
What's going on in Denver, starting with 0-2. We're going to get to all of it, and we're going to try.
Yeah, the Jets-Cowboys just felt ragged because the Jets just played right into their hands. Don't let Micah Parsons beat up your young quarterback, Maggie.
I was thinking, do you think Zach Wilson is like in full traction today? That dude was taking some hits. He has to be in a full body cast today. He's not on the injury report. That's not like an official thing. I'm just saying unofficially he's got to be in a body bag.
And the amazing thing, too, is that they are not bringing in a veteran. There's no traction at all.
No, because Rodgers is going to be coming back. Didn't you hear? He's going to be doing some crazy therapy that no one has ever done, that he's going to get back somehow in 4 months.
Amazing.
It's impossible. Consider me a doubter. Count me as a doubter, Aaron.
Put me on that train, too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to be a doubter here.